Okay, looks like we're
Live.
going.
Whoa, we're live. Look at that. That's awesome. That's excellent. All right. This meeting is being live streamed. Yes, sir. We are live. Welcome to another exciting episode of The Pit Live Clean and Fight Dirty show with your co host, Angelo Ferrer, me, and your main host, John Hackelman. Today we're covering fighters should never have to retire. A fighter's career depends on several factors, but when should a fighter retire? Um, this comes into recent news with Justin Poirier. Did I say that right? I've been
Dustin.
between that guy's name all day. Did I say that right?
Dustin. Yeah.
Justin. I called him Justin. I knew I'd mess up his name. Either way, there's a lot of rumors that some people feel he shouldn't have retired. Some people feel he should retire. John went through something like this with Chuck Liddell a long time ago. So, if anyone would know when a fighter should or should not retire, I think John Hackelman has a pretty good chance of having some experience in that topic as a UFC coach and a Kajikuma black belt and over 20, 30 years of teaching martial arts and running schools.
50.
50! 50 years. I was trying to make you look younger, man. Sorry. So, over 50 years of training, you'd think he might have something to say about this. So, John, thoughts?
I think that's a good topic. Okay. I don't think there should be an age when someone should retire. Um, and anything else like physicalities, like injuries or slowing down or losing their chin or you know losing their stamp. There's so many things you lose when you get older. Um, but it's all relative, first of all. Like you can lose your speed but still have your power, right? And then some people don't have much speed to begin with. Um, but I mean, how do you base it on any number or any one metric? I mean, I think this is what I honestly think. I think a fighter should retire when a fighter wants to retire. Period. Period. I don't think all the fans should be trying to talk him into retiring because what people don't understand is behind every fighter there are probably dozens of reasons that they're fighting. Most of them just start off with one. They like to fight. Boom. That's what they start with. But now all of a sudden you have a family. You have a car payment. You have a mortgage payment. You have kids. So you gotta support those kids. Now let's say you've made it to the top rung, not even the champion, but you're up there in the UFC. So for the most part, that's supporting your family. Some very, very well, and then some who haven't really made it to the top, not so well. But it's feeding their family nevertheless. So when people try to say that they think that people should be forced to retire, then maybe they should think, what if somebody made them quit their job, whatever that is? Maybe the job that's supporting their kids, maybe they should make them retired. But I mean, if you listen to how stupid that sounds, that's how stupid people that say, "Oh, he should retire. He should retire. He shouldn't be allowed to fight anymore." That's how stupid you sound, right? You sound as stupid as somebody telling you, "Hey, you can't work anymore and support your family." It's ludicrous, asinine, and it's just pure stupidity. Nobody. This is still supposed to be America. I know there's a lot of people that don't like that. They don't like the freedom. They don't like that at all. But we're still here. There's still some semblance of freedom, and that freedom. One of the freedoms is you should be able to make your living how you choose, as long as it's legal basically, as long as it's legal. A lot of jobs aren't ethical, and people still have them. A lot of jobs are, you know, you could debate a lot of things, but if it's legal, anyone should be able to keep their job.
So
That's why.
I'm not. I know you're former military, right? You're
Yeah.
former army, right? So in the army, how does that work? Because I have a friend who's in the Air Force, and after he completed his contract, he wanted to continue. He didn't want to retire. He wanted to keep going, and he started going past. I forgot what age limits they have or how they work things, and that's why I'm going to ask you that. How does the military work as far as retirement? Because I know you can keep applying and you have to keep passing certain tests. Do you know the details on that? Like,
I don't know the details, but I know there's an age you can't do it. I think I don't know what it is. I think it's late 30s, maybe 40. And just like a lot of jobs, like in basketball, you couldn't do it after a different metric. You stopped scoring points. You know, so I mean, for the military, there are numbers, just like police force. And a lot of government jobs, they put a number on it. So what that's I don't think that's right, but it's the way it is. So I don't know. I mean it's pretty lame because a lot of military guys could go in at 45. Glover Teixeira wouldn't be allowed to join the military because he's 45. But could you find a 25-year-old in better shape than him? No. So the reasoning, it doesn't make sense, but it's the government. I think it's stupid, but it's the government. That's what they say. So,
well, I
so
forgot.
yeah, there are age limitations for a lot of jobs, but in MMA there isn't a specific like as soon as you hit this age, you got to quit. It's more specific. It's like once the crowd stops wanting to see you fight anymore and buy your tickets, maybe that's when you should retire. Or when it's not feeding your family anymore, then you should retire. But you should never have to retire just because of a number or any other single metric.
And this kind of goes like it's interesting that you say this because we've talked about the 80-year-old stripper,
Yeah.
and this kind of ties in with. I mean, like what you're saying, like at the same time, you feel that there is a point where it's no longer entertaining, and you don't
No.
see it like the Mike Tyson versus
Yeah.
Logan.
None of that.
I'm just gonna say
I
you two.
don't. Yeah. I would rather watch that than a 75-year-old stripper. But no, but nobody should tell that stripper that she can't do it. It's just nobody will go watch her. So she probably won't get anything out of it. She probably won't do it very long. The supply and demand. If there's a supply for 75-year-old strippers, more power to them. Go get them. But if there's no supply or if there's no demand, the supply is just going to shrink. So
But
that's the way it should be in the fight. If it should be supply and demand. If the crowd doesn't want to watch that fighter anymore, they won't buy the tickets. Dana won't use them anymore, so they'll just kind of fizzle out. But somebody like Dustin Poirier, people calling for his retirement, he's still got a lot of fight in him, and there's still a crowd out there that wants to watch him. I mean, he'll fill up any arena that he headlines. Now, with that said, if these guys are getting hurt, right, seriously, and it's affecting their life in a negative way, then it would behoove them to retire, and I think they should, but they shouldn't be forced to, because we shouldn't be looking out for other people's safety and health, or else nobody should be able to eat candies, sugar, ice cream, bread. I mean, could you imagine if we were, as a country or as a nation, we're really worried that much about the people? We're not at all. So why would we worry about Dustin Poirier getting hurt too much when he fights, and we're looking out for him? But when you go home, you're feeding your fucking kids, candy and ice cream. So you don't give a shit about your kid's life, but you do again about Dustin Poirier. Go figure that one out. That one's you're gonna get fucking that'll boggle your mind. you'll think about that. It'll just make you dizzy because it makes no sense.
And you're talking about like and that when you're talking about the people talking, you're talking about MMA fans. Let's be very specific here, right? We're talking about MMA fans' opinions on Justin Poirier's retirement. And Dustin, Justin, Dustin,
Justin.
Dustin, right? And if you know how MMA fans are, you know, there's like a thin line between MMA fans and pro wrestling fans, and I blame Brock Lesnar for. Well, I blame and thank Brock Lesnar for bringing in such a great fan base from pro wrestling, but I've seen very similar kinds of loudmouths in that genre of fighting.
No, these fighters, they're the same crowd. They're the same type of fans in boxing, kickboxing, MMA. Those are the, pro wrestling. Those are just combat sport fans, and a
Yeah,
lot of them are a lot of people that think Dustin uh, should retire. They're not being assholes. They're thinking of his best interest. But a lot of people, you got to understand this. A lot of people, especially to the left, they think they should tell you when you should retire. They think they know what's better for you, right, than you do yourself. They think they should dictate how you live your life because they're smarter than you. That's the kind of fan that is all about the fighter retiring. They're not really looking out for the best interest. That's already been proven because they're gonna give their kids candy. So we know that they're not looking out for anyone's best interest. It can't be that MMA fighter they don't even know. They're just doing it because it's something like it's something that you can pretend that you're passionate about and say, he should retire. Look out for his safety. You guys, by saying that, you don't really care. Here, honey, have some more sugar. Here, where's my cigarette? You know what I mean? So people like that are just they're trying to do what's pretend to do what's right outwardly, but when it's them on the inside and no one's watching, they do the complete opposite. I think here in America we call that a hypocrite.
so if I understand what you're arguing correctly, so this is titled "Fighters Should Never Have to Retire." You and also anybody watching right now, what do you think? Jump in the comments. That way we can get a gauge on. Do you think fighters should have to retire? And if you think they should have to retire, when do you think that is? If you don't think they should have to retire, please put in why you think they shouldn't have to retire. Also, if you have any comments, anything in general, please feel free to put them in. I will bring this into the conversation, even if it's not related to our topic. So, fighters should never have to retire. So you're saying even if they got, but you're saying if they got seriously injured, that you would understand why outside source like the Nevada Sport Commission might be like, nope, guy can't fight.
Yeah, you gotta abide by the commission, even though they're mostly just a government run organization that is looking out for their best interests first, under the guise of looking out for the fighter's safety. But with that said, a lot of the commission guys do look out for the fighter safeties, and like all the way from the commission to the doctors to the referees, truly, 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 the majority care about the fighters. So, you know, but then who's going to say it? The commission should say it. Okay, then they can make that ruling, but it's got to go across the board, and it should be very, very objective. It shouldn't just be he's taking a lot of beatings. Is there something, Tex Cobb took a lot of beatings too, and they thought he had brain damage. He's been hit so much, the most hit fighter in my era, and he was on all kind of magazines about how many blows he took to the face, and they did every single fucking test, brain test, and he was like top. He scored top notch. This guy was sharp as a fucking razor when you talk to him, and he went on to become a pretty successful actor after his fight career. But so they were calling for his retirement. Even one of the big which announcer was, I think it was Howard Cosell. I think he like quit because some fighter took a beating and he thought he didn't want to be part of it anymore. He thought Tex Cobb should retire. He was like, protesting, and Tex Cobb's sharper than he is. He has a better mind than he did. So who should decide that? You know what I mean? Should the commission decide it? I don't think so. But if they have like some doctors doing some objective tests that they're not passing, I see that, but not just watching video and saying he was hit too much or he's been knocked out too much, even because some people, it doesn't affect them the same way as it does others. And I don't know if taking someone's bread and butter away, maybe that's the only way they could really, in reality, feed their 4 kids. That's the only way. And they have a mortgage payment that's not going anywhere. So to take the fighting away from them all of a sudden when they're making, say, 200 grand a fight, and that's the only way they could make $200,000 in, every 3 or 4 months. They don't have any other skill. So if you took the fighting away, you're going to take the kids' food away, take their house away, take their car away. So I mean, I don't know. When you want to say they should have to retire, are you thinking of all those things, or are you going to support them for the rest of their life?
So Zen says, I don't want to see current fighters retire like Canelo. I don't want Tom Brady to retire either. I'd like to see him compete for another 20 years or more. Anthony says, what happened to Tyson? Karate Guy Muzi says, hi, Sensei Pitmaster. Hello. And well, that brings us up to the comments. What happened to Tyson? Nothing's happened to Tyson yet, Anthony. I think he's going to fight in July. He's scheduled to fight in July.
I thought he's pulling out, and they're going to put someone else in.
I don't know. I'll keep an eye on the gossip, on the scoop, on that. Now I do want to do this though. If no one, I see a comment coming in before I move on to my. Okay. Maybe Jesse A says maybe forced retirement after 3 straight losses, so you can give the guy a chance and same time avoid brain damage. You're fired, Sensei. The Karate Guy says hi, Sensei Angelo. Hello, Karate Guy. So what do you think about that one? Maybe a forced retirement after 3 straight losses, so you can give.
Why 3 straight? That's random. Number one. Number two. I mean, should we do that for a baseball player, or a football player, or a car racer, or a banker that's blew 3 of their last people that came in to get a home loan? They blew it, or a realtor that blew 3 of their last customers and didn't. They blew their chances to get them a house. They didn't get the house. Three straight losses in any sport game. That sounds, it's random and it's silly. It's just silly.
Arguably, all the people you just mentioned aren't getting punched in the face.
What?
Arguably, all the professions you just mentioned, none of them are getting punched in the face. I mean,
yeah.
A banker's not getting punched in the face.
What does that mean? They've been getting punched in the face their whole career. I mean, this guy's been getting punched in the face, most of them since they were little kids. That's nothing new. That's just another day at the office. So I don't know.
So what I thought would be fun, and I'll make sure I'm not losing any comments here. Okay, I'm not losing any comments. Would be to evaluate. Here, let's go here to share screen. It's gonna look kind of weird at first, and forgive me, you're gonna see pictures of ourselves and ourselves. That's kind of weird. There it is, pictures of ourselves and ourselves. And I will get to the comments right now, John Cox. I think his coach will have to make the majority of the decisions. I can't imagine a fighter saying they no longer want to fight. Now, 10 most heartbreaking retirements in MMA, brought to you by thesportster.com. And let's get your opinion on this. So, number 10 was Pat Miletich versus Mike Jackson. They say the fight should never happen. Do you remember this fight, John?
Yeah, not very well, but I remember it. It was like a reporter or something, right?
Yeah, it was a UFC welterweight champion, Pat Miletich. He unretired to take a fight against former CM Punk opponent Mike Jackson.
Yeah. He was
Um,
some kind of he did like writing and blogging and some kind of yeah. I don't think that should have made him retire or not retire. So, but he lost that fight, so it's sad. But it
yeah.
had nothing. I mean, it didn't give him any lifelong injuries. You know what I mean?
All right, all right. And then, hey, number nine. And remember, I know it sounds. It looks like I fixed this. Look, I just randomly searched people who should. People feel that people. Well, the title of the article was "Heartbreaking Retirements," and the number nine was Glover Teixeira versus Jamal Hill.
Yeah, because they're not saying he was should have retired or shouldn't have retired. They're saying it was heartbreaking because he lost really bad and he's making a comeback, after being in Brazil and losing his immigration status, and then he made this terrific comeback, and he's the oldest fighter to win the to win a title, and people loved him. That's more why it was heartbreaking than the fact that he retired. I think the way he lost that last fight, and he's set financially, so he decided to retire because I mean he was getting beaten, and at 45 he didn't have the skill, the speed or anything anymore. And like I said, he was there. He was in no need, money. His was he was set if even if he didn't fight anymore. So I think that was a good retirement, and it was 100% his decision.
And then the next one was Anderson Silva versus Uriah Hall.
Yeah, so they're what they're saying is just really hard to watch fights. I think that's what all these have been, and it's hard to watch a legend lose. But Uriah Hall's no schmuck, so I think it was terrible to watch, but I thought it was good to watch because I like to see Uriah climb the ranks.
Yeah. Anthony Johnson versus Daniel Cormier.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I don't think these apply to what we're talking about at all, but I mean that fight, it was tough to watch Johnson get, thrown around a lot, but I mean, he did plenty of beating. I mean, let's look, he knocked out Glover for God's sakes, I mean, he was a knockout. He was considered by many, many experts, not just people, to be the hardest puncher ever. And so he retired very, very, respectfully. And he died recently of cancer. And so I think that might be one of the reasons is because, just he was people loved him because of his exciting style, and they hated to see him go, and then he died. So
Yeah. And I think again, why is this? You're saying it's not related, but the reason I think it's related is because people watch this, and this is where they start getting all. This is what fires them up to start saying stuff like, "Oh, they should. They want to see their. It's funny. They want to see their champion fight more, but at the same time, they don't want to see their champion lose."
yeah,
So
but I don't think Anthony Johnson was on a huge winning or losing streak at the time, and nobody was calling for his retirement. And I don't even know if for sure he retired after the fight. If he did, maybe it was because he just got diagnosed with his cancer, or maybe for another. I don't think that was his last fight, was it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't think that was a retirement thing. Who's that one? The next one.
The next one is Chanel Charles
Yeah.
Yoda Machida.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't see that one happening that way. I know them both, and I don't think either one of them retired after that fight. Tell you the truth.
In 2022, it was the greatest heels in combat sports. That was in 2019. I don't know if they fought since then. I don't know if
Yeah.
Machida's.
I know Machida has.
Okay. I don't know if Shao has though. I don't know if Sonnen
Yeah.
has. Because I mean, mostly it's focusing on Sonnen. He gave an emotional.
He lost the fight that he lost that one.
And then we have Brad Pickett versus Marlon Vera.
Yeah, I don't really know anything about them. I don't. Brad Pickett was an old time guy that never really made it as much. I mean, he made. I'm not saying he didn't make it. He didn't have the popularity that he should have because of his skill, but for whatever reasons, there's a lot of reasons. But he was never up there as a fan. superstar like he should have been. Vera, has been. So I don't know what they're talking about in that fight. Maybe Pickett won and everybody misses him or something.
Yeah. So
I
like
mean, he lost. He lost. He lost.
he lost. Again, maybe he really falls into that category of didn't make a big payout. Would definitely need to continue to fight to pay his bills. Uh,
Yeah.
oh boy, I can never say this guy's name. Theodore
He Malenko. Malenko.
Imalink
Yeah.
versus Ryan Bader. Fedor turned back the clock with his first round knockout win over Timothy Johnson last year. Not last year, according to this article, not
Yeah.
this. With the win, the last Emperor became the Bellator #1 contender and targeted a rematch against Ryan Bader. 4 years previous, Darth won by a first round knockout. And in the rematch, Bader dominated the Russian, again, winning by first round stoppage.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was I could see that one. That was a sad one because everybody loves Bader, but Bader didn't. I don't think Bader ever made the name he should have had as good as he is. I don't think he ever got the notoriety of that. But Fedor did. Fedor was known as by some people, the greatest fighter on the planet. For a good part of his career, and everybody loved him. He was a legend. Um, and getting knocked out by Bader, I guess maybe didn't like the hardcore fan. I did because I love them both, but I like to see Fedor. I like to see Ryan Bader win.
And then number 3 was the Korean Zombie versus Max Holloway.
But yeah, so there's another one like the Glover one. That's mainly because I don't think the Korean Zombie. I don't think he retired after that. And I know we all know Max Holloway didn't, but I think it's because of the way the fight went down and how bloody and brutal it was. And I think that's the main reason people are talking about Glover's fight like that is because, I mean, that whole fight went was a one-way fight, and Glover got beat up real bad, and he got cut and stuff, and dropped, and it just was an ugly fight to watch. And so the Korean Zombie goes out on such a shield all the time. I think that has a lot to do with that.
And I think it's also bringing up another good point about this. Is sometimes we were talking about this, and the reason we wanted to talk about this was because of Dustin Poirier announcing his retirement. Is someone will announce their retirement, but it doesn't exactly mean they're retired. They can always come back, whether the fans want that or not. They, like I said, if they want to pay their bills, they can come back. Number 2 on our list is Shogun Rua versus Iropotiria. I probably said that really.
Yeah, I think Shogun, another guy who's a legend, legend. I think it was hard to watch him losing it towards the end of his career, and it's hard to watch those legends go down to no name guys, and I think it was sad, but I could see that. That was a hard to watch one, like the Glover one. People want to see their stars, their heroes go out on a good note, but most fighters don't, or else they're not going out.
And our number 1, Daniel Cormier again versus Stipe Miocic. Miocic.
Miocic.
Miocic.
Miocic. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what that they mean about that one. I mean, that's the one Miocic won, right?
Cause of a nobody. I think they're calling Stipe a nobody. Is Stipe a nobody? I don't know enough.
Stipe, he's known as the greatest heavyweight champion of all times.
I guess they really like Cormier on this website.
Yeah, they like because he was, because now he does the announcing. He's a spectacular MMA legend. He was as a fighter, as a coach, as a commentator, as an announcer. I mean, this guy is one of the most well-rounded MMA personalities ever. All the things he's done for the MMA community, it's like. But Stipe is a blue collar guy that's a full time firefighter, and he's a family man, and he's a blue collar guy, and he's a fucking world champion, UFC champion. So I didn't see anything to do with that fight being hard to watch.
Yeah, I guess Cormier's post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, where he admits he didn't have it anymore, and that's why I felt it was sad. It was sad. It
Oh,
was sad for them to see their hero lose. He also badly eye poked in the fight, and it showed. So I guess those some things that happened. All right, back to our comments. Let's see what you said. We went to the article. Oh boy, here we go. So I have a lot of stuff here. John Cox, I think his coach will have to make the majority of the decision. I can't imagine a fighter saying they no longer want to fight. Karate Guy says Glover is one of my favorite all-time fighters. John says Alex got Hill back. That wasn't Chael's last fight. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. That wasn't his last fight. And again, for the article, it was an oral article. So by now, and as we talked about earlier, a fighter says they're going to retire doesn't exactly mean they're going to retire. Off-topic question. William says, okay, William, what's your question? What do you think about retirement from MMA and switching to other combat sports? Okay, let's take a pause there. So, John, what do you think about retirement from MMA and then switching to another combat sport?
that's what a lot of people are doing, man. Most of them are going to bare knuckle boxing or combat karate. And some guys are going into jiu-jitsu tournaments only. So I mean, like if you're retiring because you got hit in the head too much, the bare knuckle boxing is a stupid move, and so is combat karate. If you retired because you had a terrible shoulder injury, then going into jiu-jitsu would be a stupid decision. So it depends on why you retired first off. Then you pick what other sport you want to do after. You could do, whichever one. Like maybe you retired from MMA just because you didn't like, just how intense it was, where the takedowns, striking, and the elbows, everything. So you thought you'll do something a little more forgiving. You could switch over to jujitsu if that was your, thing. But if you were more of a stand-up, striking MMA guy, and you just didn't like, you were starting to get frustrated because you don't have the speed to get out of the way of the takedowns anymore, but you still have the power and the desire to slug. Then go into combat karate or bare knuckle boxing. So I think it's great. But if you're retiring because you're having brain injuries, like I said, and you're going into the striking sports where you're going to get hit even more than you did in MMA, then that's just stupid. So
So our off-topic question is, John, what do you think about slap fighting?
yeah. It's hard to watch, but I mean, it's hard to watch, but man, some people, people are making a lot of money. Nobody should tell them that they can't do it. You know what I mean? If we're still feeding our kids fucking Cheerios or fucking, Lucky Pops or whatever sugar we're feeding them, we can't try to judge what grown men do, with to their health. You just can't. You really can't. There's not a parent out there that can do that. I guarantee you. Maybe one out of 100 million, but there's not many parents out there that if you live in a glass house, you shouldn't be throwing rocks. If you're feeding your kids sugar, then you shouldn't be complaining about violent sports.
So some more comments here. Off topic, question here. You previously said, from William John, you previously said that 3 to 5 hours a week is the bare minimum for martial arts training. Is that just martial arts training hours, or total? So
What was it? How many hours?
yeah, so
5 hours?
a conversation about training. And then he puts out an example. I train for 2.5 hours of barbell training. I'm guessing weightlifting. 3 hours, and then 3 hours a week of martial arts training. So he's wondering if he does about 2.5 hours of weight training and then 3 hours of martial arts training, does that count in your schematic of 5 hours of training a week?
Yes. Perfectly.
All right.
Except the only way it wouldn't is if you are or want to be a sport fighter, especially MMA. Then you need to ramp it up a little bit. But 5 hours for a hardcore martial artist who wants to also stay fit, and that all martial artists do, or else you're a partial artist. You know that. So anyone that does, full martial arts should be training, 5 hours a week.
There you go. That answers your question. You're combining you're combining your endurance and stamina training and your martial arts training. So it all goes in to the investment for you as a martial artist, not a partial artist. One of your favorite.
Unless you want to be a sport fighter,
Yeah.
then you should be training a little more than that.
I think he's talking about the average guy. We're not talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Zen says at least Khabib retired with a win and only wins. There you go. There it is. All right, everyone. Oh boy. Thank you. You're welcome, William. Well, that being said, this has been another fabulous episode of the Fight Clean. The Live Clean and Fight Dirty. The Fight Clean. The Live Clean and Fight Dirty. I almost messed up our slogan. I almost reversed it by mistake. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I think it might be 4 p.m. 4 p.m.? What time is it over there?
Right now it's 5:37.
Every week at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you want to join us for training, you can join us. You can join John at thepit.tv. There are still slots available. If you want to audit a class for less than it costs for 2 cups of coffee, you can audit a class and train alongside. If you want to earn a belt, check it out. There are affordable methods. John will be your personal coach. Check it out at thepit.tv. All right, y'all. Catch y'all